Hey guys, thank you for visiting the channel and taking the time to watch this video. I just want to put a quick insert in. My channel has been doing really great lately. I mean, it's been booming and it's because of you guys. So I just want to take the time out and say thank you guys for watching my videos. I do so much work for you guys. I mean, like, it's not like I'm here saying things that I got notes. And it takes a lot, man. With all these books, I pay a lot of money for these books. And before anybody says anything, like, it's just a zodiac. Show you guys real quick. It's just all the zodiac. I don't want you guys thinking anything about it. Like, man, this guy's switched. It's just the zodiac, guys. As you know, I'm a fellow astronomer. I love astrology. But back to what I was saying. But yeah, so I just want to take a time and I say I appreciate you guys watching the videos, and like I like you guys talking more in the comments. I love it. But as I say, I have prior videos. I feel like some people miss some other videos. You may see one video, don't have enough context. So as I say, please watch the video in its entirety before judging. Come on, you don't want to just watch 5 minutes and then just critique it, but just putting it out there. But again, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. It means a lot to me, and I have a giveaway I'll be doing soon. If once I reach 100 subscribers, I'm almost there, but that's when it shows up. But thanks again for you guys. All right, cheers, guys. Enjoy the video. So now, when it comes to antiquity, we can dive deep, really deep, when it comes to deep antiquity or recent antiquity. So that goes with the Romans, the Greeks, the Egyptians, even to the Persians. But what I want to look into is just all this monuments, all these symbols, like, what's going on? Like, we credit it to the Egyptians and the Greeks. Like, how did they do all this? Even to this day, we have to have machinery help us to even get close to what these ancient people were capable of doing. I mean, like, I can just give you an example. We could just end it right there. Just the pyramids in itself is just mind-boggling. Once you just take the time and just, now, I haven't visited, which I will be visiting it one day. Like, I got to put that into the to-do list. But yeah, so, but just the capability and just the manpower that would have to go in this, and to do it precisely the first time, because where they put it at, like, there was no second chances, and it's just like they got it right the first time. I mean, like, what type of planning does that even have to come into achieving such a goal like that? And it just boggles the mind. I mean, like, even to the Romans and to the Greeks too, all of these statues to their gods, all these temples that were built just to honor them. I mean, like, there's just some things that you don't do on accident. Like, they're not just, these people weren't just sitting around, oh, let me build a temple for this deity. Like, come on. There was certain plannings to all this. So there had to be a puppeteer, some type of leader that orchestrated this, some type of information, some type of knowledge that was bestowed upon them to do all this. I mean, like, go into my book reviews. If you watch some of my videos, I showed you in the book review for the cult of Sol Invictus that the solar deities, Sol Invictus, is just a resemblance of the Statue of Liberty right there at the harbor of New York City. I mean, look. and I just show people this information, and they just so, oh, nah, it's a coincidence. Like, nah, there is no such thing as coincidence. Like, there's just too much information. Like, they're taking, modern day man is taking stuff from antiquity and then just bringing it back into modern times. Nothing new underneath the sun. So just that, an example is just, you just got to sit back and think like, what? Like, that's crazy. I mean, even to the Greeks, that we give so much to when it comes to the Western philosophy, Herodotus, Thales, Hecataeus, Homer, Plato. All these people played a big part into Western philosophy. And then, like, from my view, is where did all these people get their knowledge from? Like, it had to resonate somewhere. And then, like, after researching some of these people, I mean, I will show you these certain peoples that you really need to look into. But before I do that, and they all just talk about how they went into Egypt and learned from the Egyptian philosophers or magicians, if you want to get into it, talking about these secret schools of initiation coming out of there saying, "Man, know thyself." And it's just like, what is all this? All these secrecy, and then when it comes to them having secret societies back in the day, yes, actually, it's nothing new. These fraternities aren't doing something new. This all stems back way, way back to deep antiquity, even starting with the Egyptians, as I'll show you later on. But all of this secrecy, like, what is all this? But then, like, mainstream news or information doesn't give us that much information about the Greeks going into Kemet. If you didn't know, Kemet is the original name for Egypt. Egypt was given the name from the Greeks, but it's actually called Kemet, land of the black, for the soil that's at the Nile River. So just wanted to chime in on that. But yeah, I mean, all these Greek people going into Kemet and just learning and then coming out. But as I said here, if you just take a look at these certain people, I mean, they give you all the information there. Everything's there where it comes to astronomy, astrology, when it comes to even etymology, certain rites, how they feasted, even going to worshiping their deities. Like, where did the Greeks get all this information? And I'm going to show you later. It actually stems all from Egypt. And yeah, like I said earlier, Egypt gets a bad rap because of Christianity, of course. But I mean, once you look outside the book, like real history outside of the book, it's totally different. There's one story here in the book, but then all these other scholars and all these historians tell a different story. So you gotta use critical thinking here. I mean, like, the majority of people are saying this stuff and showing you evidence. I mean, what is it? So, like, I'm not trying to bash anybody's religion or anything like that, or trying to switch your ideas, but I just want to show you cold, hard, the facts. What it shows you that we can all look up, and it's history, people, proven history that we can all look up. We can read. I mean, yes, it's going to cost a little bit to get the books, and I mean, like, these books are expensive. I tell you, like, as you see, I spend a lot of money on my books, man. I research so much. Like, at this point, like, I have so much information. You got to be crazy. You got to be really about history if you want to get into this topic, because there's so many people that coincide into this. Like I said, the Phoenicians, for instance, the Greeks actually commemorate the Phoenicians to giving them their alphabet. So you should look that up. So all of this information is there. But as I said, yeah, so let's get into these specific people, these Greeks. that tell so much in their books. They just lay it down so perfectly. You just gotta pay attention and read, because I'm telling you, everything is in the books. All these little they can portray a little bit more in books than when it comes to actual to be how can I say, like an interview, even modern time too. Everything's in the book. Yes, not everything's there. Some stuff is a little watered down, but that's why you find different references. So you can kind of put everything together, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's why I always give you guys book references too, because I don't want everybody to think, oh, past, present, and future, you're just spouting out whatever that comes to your mind. No, this is me doing my research, deep research, and then giving you guys reference also. So that's one thing I will always do. I'm not like all these other YouTubers that they're gonna flash a book saying reference like that. They're gonna point right there and it's gonna flash up. Now, like, I'll be sure to show you the books. Like, we got the books, Phoenicians, Herodotus, what we're actually going to be getting into soon, showing you his book, and of course one of the Greek literatures that I talked about, Homer, the Iliad and the Odyssey. All this Greek literature written down about 1000 BCE, I want to say. I'll show you some more facts about it, but yes, so just want to show you, like, I do this, man. That's why it takes a little bit of time for me to get some of my videos, but I'm going to do a little bit of segue. I feel like if you watched my channel, I've given you guys information, and if you haven't noticed, the books that I choose to do the reviews, there's a reason why I'm doing this. Remember, people, there is no coincidence. We're too passive. People need to know that some things are deliberate. So, but I leave little hints here, and if you take the time to read these certain books, which you don't have to, that's why I do the book reviews for you guys. But as I said, I lay the reference so you can do your due diligence. But if you take the time to listen to my book reviews, you'll see that I've been laying things down for you in antiquity, showing you like little codes, but we're going to get into that now though. So, but yeah, so like I said, when it comes to these philosophers, as I'll show you here, Homer, Hesiod, Plato, Herodotus, just like I just spoke about earlier, Plutarch, Diodorus Siculus, and Thales. And like I said, if you just pay attention and read what these specific people talk about in their books, everything is just laid out there for you. Like I said, they even go into specific details when it comes to their mingling, when it comes to with the Egyptians, even to the Phoenicians. They talk about astrology and who the first people were, defining certain gods, certain deities, and certain people telling you who took who from what and adapted it to different names, which is really important, which I told you that all these civilizations, when it comes to conquest, they took bits and pieces from who they defeated and they incorporated it into their culture. So as I said, when it came to astrology, way of living, and even when it came to Thales, also helped out with mathematics when it comes to Thales, as I'll show you later. But one big component that I want to bring out is the contribution when it comes to medicine. And I'll show you here. And this is the National Library of Medicine. So You can do your due diligence and look this up also. But in abstract, it says here, Egyptian medicine is the base of Greek medicine. Egyptian people and their medical knowledge are often mentioned in the Iliad and Odyssey of Homer, one of the Greeks I just showed you in the prior picture. Many Greek doctors, such as Melampus, Aesopus, and as well as Hippocrates, I butchered most of their names, I'm sorry guys, visited Egypt to study and understand medicine. Okay. This work intends to focus particularly on Homer, Herodotus, and Plutarch's letters, where the importance of Egypt in religion, science, and medicine is clear. Herodotus 484 through 420 BCE in the second book of the Histories, which I'll be showing you guys later. I'll be showing you passages from the book a little bit later because I own the book. Describes Egypt and the medical knowledge of its doctors. Plutarch 1 through 2 CE in the virtues of Sparta and life of Lycurgus tells about an energy beverage named nephtine made with drugs from Egypt. And another Greek philosopher that we all know, well known as Plato, which actually chimes in also. So I'll show you guys a quote from him here also. Plato in Egypt. Damien went on from there. Plato traveled to Egypt with Euripides to meet with Egyptian philosophers and priests. During his stay, he became very ill, but was cured by a priest using a cognition made of seawater. This caused Plato to concur with Homer that the Egyptians surpassed all mankind as healers. So even Plato is commending Homer to what he said when it came to their medicine. But I'll continue. Every man is a healer there. Homer, Odyssey 4, 229 through 232. He also learned about the water clock and brought the idea back to Greece. As you know, the Egyptians were the first to invent a portable timekeeping device. And as you see here, this is the Egyptian water clock dated 1400 BC. And to put into context, as you see also, the Greeks telling you that they got most of their ideas and their way of living, astrology, astronomy, science, from the Egyptians. But I'll finish up here. The most important thing is that it was in Egypt that Plato was exposed to many new ideas from the philosopher priest, which in turn formed the nucleus of what would become his philosophy and his theory of forms. So now, after just showing you three Greek philosophers and showing you how they all contested as to going into Egypt and having numerous encounters where it comes to their medicine and how it helped them and actually brought some of their ideas to Greek. So, and after showing you the website that you can go look up too, Homer and Herodotus contributing towards the medicine in Egypt and it being the basis of medical for the Greeks. But if you study Homer and Herodotus, I have to point this out because I'm going to have, if people do the research like I hope you guys do, you're going to run into this. They're going to say they may be a little bit pseudo or, oh, that they made all this stuff up. And well, let's say we can contest to that. But if you know about Herodotus, you'll know that since in his book he quoted of this lost city of Harsalon that was submerged in Upper Egypt, and for thousands of years everybody thought it was a myth, They thought it didn't exist until we found it. And I'll show you the article here. And before I continue, just want to show you guys the book, the landmark Herodotus, the Histories, where we get history from. The first Greek historian, Herodotus, was an ancient Greek historian and geographer from the Greek city of Halicarnassus, part of the Persian Empire, now Belgium, Turkey. He is known for having written the Histories, a detailed account of the Greco-Persian Wars. Herodotus was the first writer to perform systematic investigation of historical events. He is referred to as the father of history, a title confirmed on him by the ancient Roman orator Cicero. I'll leave all the rest for you guys to read, but I want to come down here where I highlighted. Herodotus has been criticized for his inclusion of legends and fanciful accounts in his work. The fellow historian Thucydides accused him of making up stories for entertainment. However, Herodotus explained that he reported what he saw and what was told to him. A sizable portion of his stories has since been confirmed by modern historians and archaeologists. And as I said earlier, they found this lost city due to the writings that Herodotus had in his stories. And I'll show you the link to the article here. History of Donus Herculean. For more than 4 centuries into the foundation of Alexandria in 331 BCE, Donus reigned supreme over the Canopic portion of the Nile River. The Greek historian Diodorus of Sicily wrote about Donus Herculean in his great work, Bibliotheca Historia, between 60 BC and 30 BCE. Sometime in the 5th century BC, Herodotus, like I just said, wrote that the Greek god and hero Hercules actually first stepped foot onto Egypt at this port city. Thus the Greeks gave Donus the name Herculean and built a grand temple dedicated to him. Herodotus also said Paris and Helen of Troy visited the port city. So here's the primitive Egyptian port Donus Herculean was lost at the bottom of the sea for 1,300 years. Like I just said, Herodotus wrote this in his book and Histories. The Egyptian city of Donus Herculean was the main port of entry to the Mediterranean Sea. Between the 8th century BCE and the 4th century BCE, by the 8th century CE, what remained of the city sank into the sea and eventually became a distant memory, without any trace except for a few references in historical writings. The forgotten ruins rested undisturbed until the 21st century in 2000. The European Institute of Maritime Archaeology, led by renowned archaeologist Frank Goudia, finally discovered the city's treasure in the depths of the Obicure Bay. And this is where they found the lost city. As you can see, it's a little bit off from the city of Alexandria in Egypt. But yeah, as you see there, that's where they found it, and it was submerged in water, just like what Herodotus contested to in his book. So now, after showing you that and that Herodotus written down about this lost city, and that us actually finding it contests to what he said in his book. And like I said before, I have the book. So this is why I show you guys. I'm not one of those YouTubers that just shows you the pictures. I actually own the book and do my due diligence. So that's why I can say I can vouch for some of the stuff that Herodotus contests to when he talks about Egypt. And like I said, I want to show you some passages from the book Histories, quoting from Herodotus what he says pertaining to Egypt. So now, page 118 on book 2. Book 2 of Egypt. Says here by Herodotus, got it here highlighted. As to all matters concerning the human world, they were in agreement. They said that the Egyptians were the first of all peoples
to discover the year by dividing up the seasons into 12 parts to total 1 year. What does that sound like, guys, to you in the Western civilization? What does that sound like? And that they discovered how to do this from the stars, astronomy. The Egyptians seem to me to be much wiser than the Hellenists in a way that they regulate the timing of the seasons. I'll get back to the definition of Hellenists in a second. While the Hellenists attempt to preserve the timing of the seasons by inserting an intercalary month every other year, the Egyptians divided the year in 12 months of 30 days each and add just 5 days each year beyond that number, and thus their seasons do return at the same periods in a cycle from year to year, duality. They said that the Egyptians were also the first to establish the tradition of identifying names for the 12 gods, and that the Hellenists adopted this practice from them. They were also the first to assign altars, statues, and temples to the gods, and to carve their figures in relief on stone. So you can see from what Herodotus is claiming that the Greeks got all of their customs, especially when it came to their altars and their rituals, from the Egyptians. And that word Hellenist, I want to give you a brief definition so you know exactly who he's talking about. So as we see here, Hellene, now Hellenist, an ancient Greek, even a native of modern Greece, chiefly in the title of the now exiled royal family. So you see exactly who he's referring to when he's saying that they make up claims, or that they're following, that the Hellenists are following the Egyptians. These are the Greeks. Herodotus himself is a Greek too. The next insert, I want to show you page 144, so you guys can see also book 2, 144. In any case, the Egyptians were the first of all peoples to hold public religious festivals, pageants, and processions escorting divine images. Remember now. And the Hellenists, well, since I gave you the definition, I'm going to just say, and the Greeks learn about these rituals from them. My proof for this assertion is that Egyptian ceremonies have obviously been held for a very long time, but those of the Greeks have been instituted only recently. The Egyptians come together to celebrate major festivals, not just once, but many times a year. The most popular festival takes place at the city of Bubastis in honor of Artemis. And if you know Greek mythology, you know who that is. The second most popular festival honors Isis, an Egyptian moon goddess, at the city of Bosphorus, an Egyptian city situated in the center of the delta where the most important sanctuary of Isis is located. Isis is, in the Greek language, is Demeter. If you know Greek mythology, you know about Demeter, and especially for the Greeks, their third most popular festival is at the city of Sais in honor of Athena, another Greek goddess. Their fourth at Heliopolis in honor of Helios, Greeks' sun deity that they worship. Come on, guys. This information's here. Their fifth at the city of Balta in honor of Leto, and their sixth at the city of Papias in honor of Ares. So as you can see, all of this stems straight from Egypt. And in the Greeks, all of their god, the pantheons, from the Egyptians. And before I transition on, I want to show you Demeter, goddess of the harvest, agriculture, and fertility. As I said, member of the 12 Olympians. Original first. Don't forget that, please.
So now, after what I just showed you with those Greek deities, I want to keep it up with the Greek gods and talk about this certain deity. And like I said, if you don't know Greek mythology, you're doing yourself a real disservice. Even to the Roman mythology and even to the Egyptian mythology. All these stories, because you're going to be really lost when it comes to this video. As I said, this is going to be a series moving forward. There's just so much information that I have for you guys. So, but yeah, if you guys want the channel, I can always make a little side video for that. So in the comments, put down if you guys want me to dive deep onto the mythology and make videos on it. But anywho, like I was saying, because the reason why I say this is, if you do your research on all these deities, you see that they all correspond with each other. So that's very interesting, and you want to look back and why is all of this, that they're all representing the same thing. But anywho, the deity I want to speak upon is Heracles. Yeah, Heracles. And I know I have some people looking at me right now like, Heracles? Who's that? And then I have other viewers that know history like, oh, I know where he's going with this. And yes, and if you're thinking that it's close to Hercules, well, you are correct. But that Hercules is actually the Roman interpretation of Heracles that they got from the Greeks. Because as I said before, every culture, especially when it comes to conquest, they always take things from the city that they besiege, whether it comes to their culture, their mythology, their way of living, etc. So, yeah, but as I'll show you here about Heracles. Heracles, glory/fame of Hera, born Alcaeus or Alcides, was a divine hero in Greek mythology, the son of Zeus and Alcmene, and the foster son of Amphitryon. He was a great-grandson and half-brother, as they are both sired by the god Zeus, of Perseus, and similar half-brother of Dionysus. Now, remember this name, because I'm going to bring this up. This is really crucial. If you know Dionysus, I'm going to show you guys the similarities. He was the greatest of the Greek heroes, the ancestor of royal clans who claimed to be a Heraclid and a champion of the Olympian order against Thalamic monsters. In Rome and the modern West, he is known as Hercules, with whom the later Roman emperors, in particular Commodus and Maximian, often identified themselves. The Romans adopted the Greek version of his life and works essentially unchanged, but added credential detail of their own, some of it linking the hero with the geography of the central Mediterranean. Details of his cult were adapted to Rome as well. Page 136, Book 2, Herodotus. Let's do it. All those who establish a sanctuary of Theban Zeus or of the Theban nome sacrifice goats, but not sheep. For Egyptians do not all worship the same gods in the same way. Only the gods Isis and Osiris, the latter of whom they say is Dionysus, remember that, the connection, are worshipped in the same manner by all Egyptians. For example, those who have a sanctuary of Mendes or the Mendesian district sacrifice sheep, but not goats. Now the Egyptians and all who followed their practice abstained from sacrificing sheep and claimed that their custom originated in this manner. Heracles had an overwhelming desire to see Zeus, who did not want to be seen by him. Finally, since Heracles kept insisting, Zeus devised the following scheme. He skinned a ram, cut off its head, wrapped himself in the fleece, and placed the head in front of his own face, and showed himself thus to Heracles. That is why the Egyptians fashioned a statue of Zeus with the head of a ram. The Ammonians, who were colonists from both Egypt and Ethiopia, who speak a combination of both languages, apparently received this tradition from the Egyptians. And since the Egyptians called Zeus by the name of Ammon, it seems to me that the Ammonians also received their name from the appellations of this god. And I'll continue here. Page 137. Egypt, Book 2. Now to turn again to Heracles. I have heard it said that he was once of the 12 Egyptian gods, but about the other, Heracles, the one known to the Hellenists, I was unable to learn anything anywhere in Egypt. This is Herodotus speaking. Moreover, the fact is that the Egyptians did not take the name of Heracles from the Hellenists, but that the Hellenists, that is, those Hellenists who established the name of Heracles as a son of Amphitryon, took it from the Egyptians. This can be demonstrated by many proofs, especially by the fact that both parents of Heracles, Amphitryon and Alcmaeon, were of Egyptian descent. Continue here. And this is where it gets good. Just a little bit. Since I wish to know something definite about all this from any source I can find, I sailed to Tyre in Phoenicia. The Phoenicians, when I learned that there was a sanctuary sacred to Heracles there. Then let's do this. And I saw that it was decorated lavishly with many offerings. In particular, I saw 2 pillars in it, one of refined gold and the other of emerald so magnificent that it glowed in the dark. When I asked the priests of the god how long it had been since the sanctuary had been established, I discovered that they did not agree with the Hellenists. Remember, ancient Greek, I showed you guys earlier what Hellenist is the ancient Greeks. For they said that the sanctuary was founded at the same time that Tyre was settled, and that Tyre had been inhabited for 2,300 years. I also saw in Tyre another sanctuary of Heracles, this one bearing the Amphitryon. And so I went to Thasos and found that there was a sanctuary of Heracles founded by Phoenicians who had set sail in search of Europa, who had colonized Thasos, which happened in fact 5 generations of men earlier than birth of Heracles, son of Amphitryon and Helios. And so this research shows clearly that Heracles is an ancient divinity. The Hellenists I consider the most orthodox of those who are founded and maintained to distract sanctuaries of Heracles, sacrificing to one as an... Now I'm on page 138, trying to show you guys. You all can look this up yourself. Grab the book, Book 2, to finish it off. Immortal with infinite Olympian, and to the other as a hero, with offerings appropriate to the dead. Remember, always incorporating it and switching things up. The Greeks did this too. The Hellenists tell many different native stories, and their myth of Heracles is especially foolish. They say he came to Egypt and was crowned by the Egyptians, who then let him direct a procession as a sacrificial victim to Zeus. He kept silent for a while, but when they led him up the altar, he turned on them with his great strength and murdered them all. The Hellenists who tell this story, seems to me, are entirely ignorant of the nature and customs of the Egyptians. These people are forbidden by sacred law to sacrifice their domestic animal apart from sheep, bulls, male calves that are ritually clean, and geese. So how could they conceivably sacrifice human beings? So now, let's take a step back and think about all of this. We touched about a lot when it came to Herodotus and his stories book, when it pertained to Greek and ancient Egypt, and we had certain similarities and certain teachings that was bestowed upon the Greeks. And like I said, all this information, it's in books. You just got to look for it. It's there. You just got to do the research. But I know, I will say it's a book. Like you said, I always look for reference, and also you're gonna have some people debate, which I'm telling you right now, this is what you're gonna see online when you do your research. You're gonna say like, oh, it's pseudo, Herodotus wasn't right. But I mean, I showed you about the Library of Medicine, quoting them using Homer and Herodotus, talking about the medicine, which is in the books also. And I also showed you about the lost city that they found by Alexandria in North Africa. I mean, like, there it was. They found it, and it was because of him documenting it in his book. So we can't just take one thing and then overlook the other. No. If we're going to take this information from these people, then we got to look at the whole view of it all. We got to see everything that these people did. So you can't just take everything out. So everything that came to be was credible. We have the evidence. So, like I said, I'll let you guys do your research and use critical thinking of yourself. I'm not here to program anybody at all. I am just giving out this information that is there. It's just you got to be willing to seek for it. And like I said, you might be a little crazy about history like me. So, but this is what we live for, man. I live for this research and to dive in because I'm intrigued about the past of antiquity and what it holds. To understand the future, you must know the past. So, but yeah, like I said, it's going to be a series, so there's just so much more that we can dive into. I mean, like, I could finish it off right now, but I'm going to have to save this information a little bit later on. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. I promise. All this information is for something. So, again, thank you guys for taking the time to watch the video. I appreciate it. This is a series. Part 2 is in the works. Please like and subscribe. It really does help out my channel. But again, thank you guys for taking the time to watch the video. The information is there. I always have my links for you guys in the bottom, so you guys can look up these books also and these pages that I present to you. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, cheers.